Word around the block is we just witnessed one of the messiest baseball fan scandals of the year, and trust me, it's not about who won the Phillies-Marlins game, it's not about Harrison Bader's homer, it's about a woman the internet has crowned Phillies Karen, and the way one little ball sparked a national firestorm. So here's how it all went down. Picture this, it's a Phillies vs Marlins game at Lone Depot Park. Harrison Bader hits a clean home run, that ball soars into the stands, and fate drops it right into the hands of Dad Drew Feltwell. Now Drew's not just any fan, this was his son Lincoln's birthday. Lincoln's about 10 years old, decked out, smiling, living every kid's dream when his dad catches that ball. Drew, like a solid dad move, hands it right over to his son. That's a memory. That's pure magic. Baseball tradition at its best. But then, enter the chaos. A woman in Phillies gear, who the internet quickly labeled Phillies Karen, storms up, grabs Drew's arm, and allegedly screams, "That's my ball." People are saying she didn't just ask, she demanded, she pressured, she literally strong-armed her way into turning that happy moment into a nightmare. Next thing you know, Drew caves, hands the ball over, and Karen gives it to another kid nearby, maybe her own, maybe not. And poor Lincoln? Heartbroken. The camera caught his little face, and he muttered the words that would go viral, "We can't win." Guys, let me ask you this, imagine being 10 years old, finally catching that magical homer ball, only to have some grown adult rip it away. Wouldn't you feel like the universe was rigged against you? That's why those 3 words hit so hard, "We can't win." It wasn't just about the ball, it was about the vibe. And the crowd knew it too. Booing, yelling, chanting Karen at the top of their lungs. Like it turned into a stadium-wide call-out. And you already know, once that footage hit the internet? Boom, 20 million views overnight. Hashtags flying everywhere, hashtag Phillies Karen, hashtag that's my ball, hashtag let the kid have it. Memes, parodies, TikTok edits, she instantly became the villain of baseball. People compared her to Darth Vader, Cruella de Vil, even the Wicked Witch of South Philly. I don't know how true some of those comparisons are, but the internet had a field day. Now here's where things get crazy. Blowout Cards, you know, the big sports memorabilia company, jumped in with what might be the pettiest and most brilliant bounty in baseball history. They offered $5,000 for the ball. But not just the ball, the catch was she has to sign it with the words, "I'm sorry," and then hand-deliver it to Lincoln. Like, this wasn't just about money, this was about redemption, about turning her villain arc into a public apology. Some people are calling it vigilante justice. Others are saying it's exploitation. But either way, that bounty made this saga even bigger. Meanwhile, the Phillies themselves weren't gonna sit this out. They gave Lincoln the red carpet treatment. We're talking VIP tickets, autographed merch, meeting players, throwing out a first pitch. Rumor has it sponsors even tossed in extras like an RV trip and hospital visits with the team. Basically, Lincoln went from heartbreak to hero overnight. Like people are saying, if that ball never got taken, he might have gone home happy but unnoticed. Instead, he became the face of baseball's feel-good redemption story. But hold up, this is where it flips again. Because while the internet was tearing Karen apart, Drew, the dad, stepped in with a plot twist nobody expected. He came out publicly and said, the internet already messed her up pretty good. I don't know if she deserved that much. Like, this man went full saint mode, asking millions of angry fans to calm down, show mercy, and maybe forgive the woman who snatched his son's ball. And honestly, that changed the whole vibe. People went from chanting Karen to calling Drew the real MVP. His grace, his compassion, it was like he pulled the brakes on a runaway cancel train. But here's the thing, not everybody listened. Because the mob? They weren't done. Threats, doxing attempts, fake apology posts, edited videos, people doubled down. Some even claimed they spotted Karen at other games, like she was some sort of fugitive being hunted. And her silence? Oh, her silence is gasoline on this fire. No statements, no interviews, not even a "leave me alone." Just silence. Which, of course, makes the internet assume guilt. And ladies, imagine this for a second. One moment of entitlement, one bad call in the heat of a game, and suddenly your face is everywhere. Memes, chants, bounties, parodies. Your reputation ruined over a ball. Would you come forward? Would you risk the humiliation? Or would you disappear and hope the internet finds a new villain next week? But it's bigger than just one ball now. Experts are jumping in, saying this moment hits on way deeper stuff: bullying, entitlement, class resentment, even cancel culture and how fast it moves. Like, this isn't just a sports story, it's a culture war. Parents are debating how to teach kids about sharing versus standing up for themselves. Commentators are comparing it to past fan villains like Steve Bartman. And sports leagues? Rumor is they're already talking about putting new fan interaction protocols in place, like ushers stepping in immediately when there's a dispute. Because nobody wants another hashtag Phillies Karen blowing up in their stands. And here's where it gets even juicier. Drew asking for mercy made some people mad. They said, "How can you forgive someone who literally bullied your kid in front of millions?" Others said, "That's the only way forward, show compassion." So now, the debate has shifted. It's not just Karen versus Lincoln. It's forgiveness versus punishment. And trust me, that's a debate the internet loves to sink its teeth into. But don't think for a second this story's over. If anything, it's only getting started. Because as long as Karen stays silent, the internet's not gonna rest. The question is, will she crack, come forward, and sign that ball? Or will she go full Bartman, disappear into infamy forever? And guys, if you think this is the end of the Phillies Karen saga, oh no. This is just the setup. The backlash is about to explode even bigger. Word around the block is the Phillies Karen scandal didn't just stop at one viral video, it spiraled into something way darker, because once the internet grabs hold of a villain, it's like blood in the water. And this woman? She became the internet's favorite target overnight. Let's talk about how wild the backlash really got. People weren't just booing in the comments, they were digging. Allegedly, some Reddit threads popped up where users were trying to identify her in blurry screenshots. Like full-on detective mode, look at her shoes, look at her earrings, she must be from Philly. Others were spreading unverified claims like, "I know her, she works at my cousin's office." Now, whether any of that's true? Who knows? But the speed, it was like cancel culture on steroids. Within hours, strangers who didn't even watch baseball suddenly knew the phrase, Phillies Karen. And you already know once TikTok got it, the drama doubled. Edits of Lincoln's sad little, "We can't win," face, remixed with sad music, captions like, "When life keeps taking your W's." Millions of shares. Then the parodies started. People role-playing the moment at Little League games, yelling, "That's my ball," at random kids for clout. Honestly, the internet treated it like a soap opera. But here's the kicker, while all this chaos is happening online, Drew, the dad, steps back into the spotlight. He does interviews, calm as ever, saying the internet's gone too far. He's like, "Look, she messed up, but this isn't life or death. The internet already punished her more than enough." Ladies, imagine that. Your kid just got humiliated in front of the world, and instead of flipping the table, the dad is out here playing peacemaker? That's either saint behavior or the best PR move in history. And guys, let me ask you this, do you think his mercy came from genuine forgiveness, or was it damage control because maybe lawyers were whispering in his ear? Because allegedly, some people are saying Phillies Karen was considering legal action. Think about it. If she really felt bullied by the mob, she could claim defamation, emotional distress, even threats. And if Drew kept stoking the outrage, it might have landed him in the crossfire. I don't know how true that is, but people are speculating. Meanwhile, the bounty changed the game completely. Blowout cards putting $5,000 on that ball? That turned it from a scandal into a circus. Suddenly, the ball wasn't just a souvenir, it was ransom. And the internet ate it up, hashtags like #Ballgate, #KarenBounty, even people joking about Netflix making a docuseries called That's My Ball, The Untold Story. But let's be real. That bounty was never about the ball. It was about humiliation. It was basically saying, you want to redeem yourself? Swallow your pride, write, "I'm sorry" in Sharpie, and hand it over to the kid you embarrassed. That's not just a contract, that's a public shaming ritual. And the woman's silence? That's what's making people crazy. If she had just come forward day one, said, "Look, I got caught up in the moment, I'm sorry, let's fix it," this might have died in 48 hours. But her disappearing act made her a myth. Every day she stayed quiet, the villain narrative grew. Because on the internet, silence equals guilt. And her ghosting gave everyone permission to pile on harder. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Lincoln, the kid, basically won the lottery out of this. Tickets, merch, autographs, first pitch, you name it. The Phillies turned him into a little VIP. And the internet loves a happy ending, so they crowned him the hero. But some critics started whispering, wait, didn't we just reward a tragedy? Didn't we just turn bullying into a marketing opportunity? And they're not wrong. It's like the kid had to suffer public humiliation to get all those gifts. Which raises the question, without Karen, would any of this even have happened? Like, ironically, her being the villain created the story that made Lincoln the star. But the internet doesn't think that deep. They just want a bad guy. And trust me, Phillies Karen fit the role too perfectly. People compared her to Steve Bartman, the infamous Cubs fan who interfered with a playoff ball in 2003. The difference? Bartman disappeared for years, literally went underground. This woman? She didn't get the choice. Social media hunted her down before she even had a chance to vanish. And here's the part nobody wants to talk about, the threats. Word is, she got emails, DMs, even letters telling her to watch her back or never show her face again. Like, let's pause for a second. Over a baseball? Over a foul ball? People really went that far. And this is why Drew's mercy plea hit harder than people expected. He basically said what a lot of us were thinking, is a ball worth ruining someone's life? But then again, some folks pushed back and said, she ruined that kid's birthday. Why should we feel bad for her? See, that's the split. Half the internet thinks she's a monster. The other half thinks she's just a human who made one bad choice. And that tension is what's keeping this story alive. And don't forget, rumors started swirling about anonymous apologies. Some bloggers claimed she reached out to the family privately. Others said she offered money, trying to smooth it over behind the scenes. But because she never spoke publicly, nobody knows what's real and what's not. And honestly, the mystery makes her an even bigger character in this saga. Like a villain hiding in the shadows. But here's where it gets really messy. Experts started weighing in. Sports analysts, psychologists, culture commentators. They're saying this whole fiasco is about way more than one ball. It's about entitlement, parenting, cancel culture, and even economic inequality. Because think about it, here's a dad giving his son a once-in-a-lifetime gift, and someone tried to snatch it away. That hits a nerve. It feels like the bigger metaphor for life, the powerful taking from the powerless, adults crushing kids' joy. That's why it went viral. Not because of baseball, but because everyone saw themselves or their kids in Lincoln's tears. And let's not ignore the irony. Lincoln's famous line, "We can't win," ended up being completely false. Because in the end, the kid won big. He got more out of this scandal than anyone could have imagined. Meanwhile, Karen? She's the one who can't win. Every move she makes, silence or not, is wrong. That's why this scandal feels like a morality play. So now the question is, what happens next? If she comes forward, does the world forgive her? Or does she double down and vanish, letting the legend of Phillies Karen live on forever? Because as of now, this saga has no ending. And that's exactly why people can't stop talking about it. And trust me, the most shocking part of this story hasn't even dropped yet. Word around the block is the Phillies Karen saga isn't just fading away, if anything, it's mutating into something bigger. People are saying this scandal is starting to feel less like a baseball game gone wrong and more like a cautionary tale about the internet's hunger for villains. And allegedly, there are already whispers that Hollywood producers are circling, because this has all the ingredients of a Netflix docuseries, a kid, a villain, a ball, a bounty, and a culture war. But let's get into the Messier side, because here's where things get truly unhinged. While Lincoln is out here living his best life, VIP treatment, jerseys, World Series dreams, Karen is allegedly spiraling in private. Some insiders claim she can't even go to her local grocery store without dirty looks. People allegedly whisper, that's her, the ball thief. Can you imagine that? Every errand turning into a public walk of shame over a baseball? And guys, let me ask you, is that justice, or is that cruelty? Because yeah, she snatched a ball from a kid, but does she deserve to carry that scarlet K on her chest for life? Some say yes, some say no. The debate has gotten so intense that even parenting blogs are weighing in. They're like, this is what happens when adults forget the game is for kids. Meanwhile, cancel culture critics are saying, this is mob mentality 101. We went too far. But then, more rumors started flying. Allegedly, there's footage we haven't even seen yet, alternate angles from fans in the stands. Some people claim she didn't just demand the ball, she allegedly grabbed Drew's arm aggressively, like physically pulling at him. If that footage ever leaks? Forget it. Her villain status would be locked in forever. But others argue maybe the angle will show she wasn't as aggressive as the first viral clip made it seem. See, that's the thing with viral outrage, one angle makes you a monster, another might make you look human again. Which one's true? Nobody knows, and that uncertainty keeps everyone hooked. Meanwhile, Drew's public plea for mercy has become its own storyline. Some fans call him the real MVP for rising above the mob. Others accuse him of being too soft, like, bro, this lady ruined your kid's birthday, and you're defending her? It's divided people down the middle. And honestly, that division is exactly why this story won't die. Because every time people agree it's time to move on, another layer of the debate pops up. Forgiveness versus punishment, childhood innocence versus adult entitlement, outrage versus mercy. Now here's where it gets really wild. Lincoln himself has become a symbol. His sad little face saying, "We can't win," has been turned into everything from TikTok audios to political memes. Some folks are even using it to comment on the economy, relationships, even sports rivalries. Like, the poor kid's heartbreak turned into internet currency. And the irony? Without Karen, Lincoln would have just been another kid catching a ball. She turned him into a legend. But you already know people couldn't leave it there. Rumors are now floating that she's been spotted at other games, allegedly trying to blend in without drawing attention. Some say she even switched teams, showing up in Mets or Yankees gear to throw people off. Is that true? No one can prove it. But the idea of her sneaking into ballparks, trying not to get caught, just adds more fuel to the fire. People online have even joked she's like a sports outlaw now, the ball thief on the run. And you know what makes this even spicier? The fact that MLB allegedly started holding quiet meetings about Karen prevention. Word is, some teams are discussing protocols for when fans fight over souvenirs. Like ushers stepping in, PR kits on standby, even training for dealing with viral backlash before it explodes. Imagine that, one woman's bad decision forcing the entire league to rethink its fan policies. That's how deep this went. But here's the thing nobody can agree on: redemption. Is there any path for Phillies Karen to clear her name? Some experts say yes, a heartfelt apology tour, maybe even a charity campaign donating balls to kids. Others say no, once the internet brands you, it's permanent. You're not just a person anymore, you're a meme. And memes don't apologize. Memes don't move on. And let's not forget the parallels people are drawing. Steve Bartman, the Cubs fan who caught that infamous foul ball in 2003, literally disappeared for years. Phillies Karen? She didn't even get the option to vanish quietly. Social media made her infamous overnight. And unlike Bartman, who eventually got a championship ring from the Cubs as a peace offering, it doesn't look like Karen's getting any redemption arc anytime soon. Ladies, imagine being her right now. Do you post an apology video? Do you stay quiet forever? Do you double down and say, "It was just a ball, get over it"? None of those choices look good. That's why people are saying she's trapped. Every move she makes could either soften the blow or make it 10 times worse. And here's the cold truth: Lincoln won. He went from losing a ball to gaining the world. He'll look back and laugh one day, because his heartbreak turned him into a legend. But Karen? She's stuck. No gifts, no redemption, just silence. That's why some people say this wasn't a scandal about baseball at all. It was about power. Who has it, who doesn't, and how the internet decides who gets punished and who gets crowned a hero. And just when you think it's over, rumors start swirling again. Allegedly, some journalists are preparing exposés, digging into her past. Old Facebook posts, workplace drama, even random beefs she might have had. Because once the internet names you a villain, they don't stop at one mistake. They go hunting for receipts. Which begs the question, are we about to see Phillies Karen 2.0, where her past comes out and makes this even messier? Because let's be honest, this story doesn't feel finished. One clip turned into millions of memes, gifts, threats, bounties, and debates about cancel culture. And every time we think it's cooling down, another rumor drags it back into the spotlight. So, what's next? Does she finally break her silence and beg for forgiveness? Does MLB drop new rules because of her? Does Lincoln's little heartbreak quote become the next catchphrase of the year? Or, and hear me out, does the internet find out something about her that makes the whole thing 10 times worse? Trust me, this saga isn't ending anytime soon. Phillies Karen might have lost the ball, but she accidentally won herself a permanent place in internet history. And whether she likes it or not, this is just the beginning.